Welcome back to another toy review. This time we're taking a look at another of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Retro series, based sort of half and half on the animated series from the 90s, a show which, if you watched previous reviews, know I don't care for very much. But it was a gateway drug that introduced a load more fans to Spider-Man and got kids into Spider-Man. So for that, I'll be forever grateful, so much so it's making me burp. Pardon me. Today we are talking about one of the other figures that span out of the initial wave. We've already looked at Jameson and Mysterio. But today, we're taking a look at one of my favourite Spider-Man villains, nay, one of my favourite comic book villains of all time. If you said to me, a Spider-Man kid, who's the best Spider-Man villain? I'd be like, well, I guess the best Spider-Man villain is the Green Goblin. But my favourite Spider-Man villain is the Kingpin. Daredevil villain! Shut up. He's both. Anyway, here he is, Wilson Fisk. Oh, look! Oh, look. Normally, when I put these figures in frame, that's where I put them. Fisk is a very, very big boy. This is, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, using a Build-A-Figure body from a couple of years ago. There was a wave with like Puma and Night Stalker and Black Cat, Silver Sable, where you could build Kingpin. I really wanted that wave. Did not have the money to spend at the time. So I missed out on it. Because I pretty much wanted all the characters in that wave, and I guess Night Stalker, but also Kingpin, the Build-A-Figure for Kingpin. That Kingpin was a more sort of comic book-centric one. White suit still, like completely white suit, and whatnot. But came with a couple options for heads. This is essentially that figure repackaged, but coloured to look more like the 90s animated series Kingpin, who's actually here. I never hated the portrayal of him in that show. I don't like that show overall, but I never really hated the portrayal of Kingpin. He always looked kind of, he looked like a giant Zephyr. He was a Zeppelin of a man. This figure doesn't match it exactly. It's going for the same colours, like the blue ascot, the orange waistcoat and stuff, but of course he can't have the fastened jacket because the mould does not allow for that. And he's not got a tiny pea head. He is instead a comic book style Kingpin, complete with, a non-kid adjacent, beaten up, scratched, scarred, and black-eyed head. He is chuffing massive. In fact, his box is so big that these pictures of the figures are basically in scale. That's a joke, but, not far off, right? Marvel's Kingpin, reads the bio. Wilson Fisk rules New York City as city's underworld with cunning and a keen intellect. Is that it? Okay. I mean, the dude is the actual Kingpin of Crime, but sure. We also have the novelty action of the figure. In this case, of course, this is more homage to the days of yore when it'd be like, pinch Venom's legs and his mouth opens, and turn Spider-Man's waist and he punches, things like that. Whereas, of course, here it's take one head off, another head takes its place. Hail Kingpin. So, without further ado, I want to get this bad boy open. This was a figure I wanted ages ago and was very subtly instructed to not buy because my beautiful wife bought it for me for Christmas. And when I opened this on Christmas morning alongside the Mysterio figure, I was well chuffed. If you're thinking about buying him, he is more expensive than the other figures in the wave. UK recommended retail when this guy first came out, the other figures were $19.99, although of course prices now vary based on availability. Kingpin was always $30.99 or $29.99, which makes sense. He's a much bigger figure, and also he's a Build-A-Figure re-release, which Hasbro have been doing a bit more of recently. I don't know if he's in shot. Yeah, there he is, just about. Over here I have the Giant Man figure from Civil War, which I bought as a separate piece. And there's like the Children of Thanos over that. Cull Obsidian was a Build-A-Figure and Thanos was a Build-A-Figure. They've been released now as individual boys, as has Kingpin. So without any more yapping, let's get unwrapping. Wilson is a large boy. Let's bring him in, shall we? Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin of Crime. Articulation on these sorts of figures is very limited. As such, his feet tilt forward and backwards. They don't really pivot to the side. They're built for it, but they don't really do it. There's one knee joint which is heavily sculpted, so when he moves his legs, or his legs are bent at all, which he needs to buckle them slightly to hold the weight, There's just this random gap in the pants, which is a shame. It's slightly less obvious when it's closed, but what have you. He has a thigh swivel really close to his crotch. Legs can move forward and outwards. Does he have a waist swivel? I didn't actually check to see. Let's find out. Nope, it is a painted-on sculpted piece. So there is no waist swivel. There is a minor ab crunch. As you can see, the jacket is a rubbery material, much like Jameson's waistcoat in this range. So with a bit of wiggling, you could remove it. In fact, just inside, the detail shows that the edge of the waistcoat has been sculpted in, and there's a crinkle texture on the white bit to indicate a shirt. But of course, if you had this jacket gone and just these sleeves, it would look like you had a shirt with an undershirt, which is confusing. That is something I noticed, actually, because he's not wearing an obvious shirt because of his ascot on this sculpt. The black sleeve cuffs are a little odd. I guess it's so they weren't just pure white, which would be a little weird, and they're what the original figure had, the Build-A-Figure is based on. He had a black shirt, but, you know, whatever. The ascot looks quite nice. The buttons are very detailed. I like the creases all along the waistcoat. Like his muscular bulk is barely being contained. He has just the hands that he came with, a bunched fist, which is quite a nice piece, sort of classic Hulk piece, really, except for this little detail of a ring. Kind of ring that leaves some dents in a man's face. Very Wilson Fisk. He comes with a cane, which naturally in the box has ended up a little blurred. No, naturally in the box has ended up a tiny bit warped. Nothing that hot water can't fix. Up top there is a diamond / crystal head, which is translucent and looks very nice. You can grip the cane in this hand like that, should you wish, with a bit of finagling, or go for sort of the more brace to smack Daredevil or Spider-Man outside their head by holding it in his rather large hands. As you can see, he wobbles a little bit, but that's just because it's hard for the figure to stand completely grounded due to his size. But he's not a heavy figure for the size. I mean, he's hefty, but he's not. If he falls off a shelf, he's not going to kill a passing pet, put it that way. Kingpin has one joint in the shoulder, one joint in the elbow, wrist joints, and the head is on one of those classic, oh, it slides up, it slides down, but it's very stiff based on the sculpt. I've switched out to the spare head in the packaging, because this is the head I'm going to be displaying him with, this classic, you know, Wilson Fisk, smug bad guy, blur. He's got enough of a double chin that it sort of rests and covers up the gap between his head and neck, which is quite good. Expression's great, like neutral but, you know, fierce. Got a little bit of plastic bleed there, so I might have to try and whittle that away. That's annoying. Eyebrows are great. Eye paint is great, as is the detail on the head that the figure came with, which is a screaming enraged Wilson. So if you've got your Kingpin fighting... Oh, that's very strange. Well, that looks really weird. What? Oh, that's the plastic to give the detail in the mouth. It's a sculpted mouthpiece. Oh, wow! I hadn't noticed that. Okay, so look at this. His mouth is hollow, as you would hope, but there's a whole, like, tongue and back of the throat in there, which is this separate sculpted piece. That's genius, Hasbro. Good work. So the main headpiece is what you see, and then the inside has been added as a separate addition. That is great. Scars on his cheek, really angry looking expression, cut up lip and nose and eyebrow and black eye. So if you've got him fighting Spidey, you might want to have him wearing this head, but I'm going to have him sort of displayed as Fisk, so he's going to be like this. For a bit of scale, this is the Spider-Man from the same wave. So Wilson, Wilson's standing at about 7.5 to 8 inches total. He's pretty damn tall. Spidey's about 6 inches, so Wilson's about just over 7. That is, I mean, you want him to be. You don't want the Kingpin of Crime to be the same height as, or even shorter than Spider-Man. You want him to loom, and loom this guy does. I'm really delighted with this. This is my first ever, apart from that paint fleck on the chin, that's going to get on my neck. Get on my neck, get on his neck, get on my tits. This is my first ever Kingpin. So, as my first one, I'm very happy with him. Wilson Fisk, Kingpin of Crime, getting a more classic look with colouring based on the 90s animated series. What do you think? Do you like him? Would you like him? Would you like me to review more figures in this wave? If so, let me know. I'll add them to my Amazon wish list. And if you're happy to buy them, the link is in the description. If not, don't worry about it. Hey, it's fine. There's no obligation. I still pick up toys from time to time and review them here on this channel. What's been your favourite figure in this Spider-Man wave so far? Do let me know. For just a comparison, the second comparison, it's kind of fun. This is the height of Fisk's backing card. This is the height of another figure's backing card. Just, there's no... Oh my days, just... That building is there. Anyway, he's a big boy. Let me know your thoughts on Fisk down in the comments below. If you enjoy these very casual, very low-tech toy reviews, check out the whole playlist. There's a bunch of them. And if you want to see more, subscribe. There'll be more on the way. See you soon.